Football, tribalism. Good morning, my front wheel skids. Tribalism in football in Britain. When I was at school years ago, you supported the team nearest to you, a local team. You didn't. If you lived in South London, you wouldn't have supported a team north of the water. And if you lived in East London, West London, North London, you wouldn't have supported south of the Thames. You wouldn't have supported a team like that. So London's like a circle. Cut it up into quarters. Each one's got its own football team. So East London was predominantly West Ham, Leyton Orient, West Ham, Leyton Orient, and we'll leave Millwall out the equation because Millwall is a place in East London, and now they're South London, the same as Arsenal were South London, and then they've gone over to North London with the Woolwich Arsenal, isn't it? Because Woolwich is South London, right? Millwall we'll leave out of this because Millwall, they're Millwall, you know, they're Cockney through and through, proper London team. So if you come from that little area, the Blue, Bermondsey, Rotherhithe, Deptford, you know, going back a little bit, you support them or you support Charlton. But when I was growing up, if I would have cut my class in half, you was half West Ham, half Tottenham, with a few glory hunters, what we call them. Now, I've done videos in the past where I'm trying to explain things, and I feel horrible because a lot of viewers are from far-flung corners of the planet, i.e. Australia, America, and stuff like that. And I think sometimes if I say something, I've had to do a video again because I thought to myself, oh, it sounds horrible. It's the evolution of the Premier League becoming worldwide, where everyone can watch a game. People have started supporting clubs from around the globe. Now, we're quite lucky, Tottenham Hotspur. We haven't won nothing fucking ages, right? So all the supporters that have come along and supported Spurs, we can't call you glory hunters. You supported Spurs on their merit, or you felt an affiliation, or a favourite footballer has come here and you've become a Tottenham supporter. Same as West Ham, right? But when I was at school, if someone supported Manchester United, which is 150 miles away, right, up north, they talk totally different. You would either supported Manchester United or Manchester United. No one supported Man City when I was a kid. I didn't see a Man City shirt in London whatsoever. The only shirts you see in London when I was a kid, West Ham, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Chelsea mugs, or Millwall. That's the only shirts you've seen. So if I come from East London, well, they call it East London. I come from the middle of London, right? The actual centre of London, where us Cockneys come from. Now, it don't mean you can pick any team because you come from a centre. You either was West Ham, Tottenham, and if you was born past Old Street sort of way, you was Arsenal, bruv. You know, there's no two ways about it. When I was a kid, that's how it went. That's football tribalism. The same in Manchester, I suppose. If you're born one side, you're Man United. If you're born the other, you're Man City. I don't know, but I can appreciate the fact that's how it probably went. So when people talk online on YouTube, and the older generation like me, they might even be born 10, 20 years earlier than me, but you see them online talking, and sometimes they get a bit they get to the stage where you can see they want to say it, and they gonna, and it's leading up to that. It's the evolution of the conversation where they go, "Oh, but you don't even come from England. Would you know?" And stuff like that. I don't think they mean it horrible. I think a lot of people take that the wrong way. I've said things before now, and I thought to myself, you can take that the wrong way. I've tried to explain myself a little bit in a video. It's the evolution of the Premier League, as I said. You can just watch it from anywhere now, can't you? So you can have a young kid in Malaysia watching Tottenham, and he'd become a Tottenham fan. It wasn't like that when we were kids. It wasn't like that. You picked your nearest club because you could go and watch them. The old town used to watch, like we used to have murals on the wall where I lived with West Ham. When they won the cup, all down what was it, Grove Road, Old Ford. You used to see little murals, little West Ham banners. You go up to North London, it was Tottenham Windows, Tottenham Transits. A few little murals back then, but not as much as the West Ham lot. They used to love a bit of a paint on the wall, especially in Bethnal Green, going up to Roman. Same as the pubs now. We had predominantly Tottenham pubs, West Ham pubs, Arsenal pubs. Arsenal pubs were normally Old Street onwards. That's just, Old Street is a walk away from Shoreditch. Shoreditch is a walk away from Bethnal Green. Totally different postcodes. I think Shoreditch is E1 or EC2 or EC1, one of them. Bethnal Green was E2. We was a walk away from Stamford Hill, Tottenham, White Hart Lane. As soon as you got to Stamford Hill, walk on another fucking 10, 15 minutes, you'd be at Tottenham, you'd be at White Hart Lane. And then I see people online, and my age, and they come from different parts of the country, and I think, how do you support Tottenham then? You come from Leicester, you come from Somerset, you come from Hampshire, you come from Kent. How do you support fucking Tottenham? Sometimes you get parents who's moved out of London for a better life during the 60s, 70s and 80s, and they've passed down their football team. But I see people who haven't had that. They haven't had the passed down football team. And I'm thinking to myself, shouldn't you be supporting Leeds? Shouldn't you be supporting Wolves? People from Scotland supporting Spurs. So this is what leads me on to it. We got a lot of supporters that come over with Ange from Scotland, and they supported the manager. That's not what we do in England. We don't follow a manager. We don't follow a player. We follow the club. A lot of people, as well, have the view of what I've grown up in, and they've still got that view. So they automatically think everyone else who don't come from where they come from, who support that team, is not as best as not a greater supporter as what they are, but they are. It's just the evolution of the Premier League being worldwide, isn't it? But I see it everywhere, and it sort of gets my goat. I'm thinking to myself, even I do it, because that's the mentality we grew up with. We don't mean it horrible. Not to the foreign fans. Majority is English. You know, I'm thinking to myself, even I do it. I think to myself, you live in Dorset. You live in Somerset, bruv. Would you why? Support your local club. I'll still do it now. I have to think to myself, Johnny, stop it. They can support whatever club they want to support. That's their choice. But the tribalism that we grew up with as kids, you know, it was the same. 40s, 50s, 60s. It's probably the same in the 30s and 20s, man. You know, up until 70s, 80s, 90s. As soon as you got to like the start of the 90s, that's when you started seeing weird football shirts in London. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? Must be a couple of Northerners down on a day trip. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have that. We didn't have that in London. I'm not understanding how if you come from Manchester, Salford, you support Tottenham. I'm not understanding if you come from Liverpool, you support Tottenham. I spoke to a guy the other day, Northamptonshire he come from, supports Tottenham. Then I realised it's a generational thing. You know, he's probably seen Gareth Bale supported the club, and he's just kept supporting the club. But when they grew up, and if they was into football, they would have supported their local team. They would have supported their local team. So I thought I'd just do a quick video about this, because go and hit the like and subscribes as well. I can carry on and bring it a bit more in depth, especially London. It was, tribalism was hardcore, bruv. It was hardcore, you know, even to the point of fans fighting other fans. They had little, so Tottenham has got its supporters, and then it's got its, I won't say anybody else's name or anything, but they've got their little crew, and they go and have a row. West Ham had a little crew. I won't say the names. We all know who they are. They'd go and have a fucking tear up with the other little crew. And Millwall would fucking have a tear up if they was playing West Ham, or not even if they was playing West Ham. They'd just go and have a little tear up. In fact, a lot of them used to just have a little tear up. You know what I mean? I've seen a few tear ups in my time. Normally they have a little tear up outside the area, just because of the police presence years ago. So I've seen a good few of them in Weavers Fields in Bethnal Green. A few little tear ups, and that's where the tribalism comes into, extreme tribalism. You know, that the people that have a tear up, they're predominantly from the area. It's their football club, it's their little gang, it's their way of getting their frustration. I've seen people have tear ups, right? I've been there, they've had tear ups. West Ham, Millwall, West Ham, Tottenham. A lot of my pals are West Ham, so I've seen them have tear ups. But then I've seen them drinking with each other as well. A couple of days later, the odd one drinking with the other one, the odd one's got the other one's phone number. And I'm thinking to myself, the tribalism runs deep, the football passion runs deep. But at the end of the day, we all sort of support our clubs the way we support our clubs, and you've got to respect every supporter. And I think that's where you get YouTube goes into a divide. It goes into a divide with I've seen it so many times now that you get an Australian or a Malaysian with an English, with an American, and the Americans seem to keep themselves to themselves. They're more subtle with their opinions of the club, because some of them haven't been with us as long as we've been supporters. So the passion runs deep. I don't know where. If you support Spurs and you come from a different country, tell me if the passion's any different. Do you see English supporters more passionate, more angry? Does that come over a bit more? Because I've been trying to do Johnny Reviews videos and watching things, and I seem to think it's the passion. People mistake the passion for something else, and they dislike each other because of the passion. I'm not talking about the underhandedness of YouTube or the football clan cartel, as I call it, of YouTube. You know, the ones who have to have their hands in 10 different pots and be collaborating and stepping stones. I'm talking about the actual tribalism. It's like when you watch, there's a certain few channels I watch. I ain't going to name anybody, right? But there's a certain few people I know that they're lovely people, and it's just the passion people take the wrong way. They take the tribalism the wrong way. It doesn't mean it. It's just he's from a different generation. He's from my generation, where he just ain't realised that with the induction of the Premier League and everyone watching it worldwide, that you can have as much passion as we've got passion. Because I don't appreciate that fact sometimes. I'll sit and watch football, I'm screaming, I've got an Arsenal neighbour, right? Arsenal shirts, the lot, you know what I mean? And I've got a Tottenham sticker on my car, mate. I'll let him know straight away. And he's never spoke to me about football one bit. Not one bit. You know what I mean? Not once has he spoke to me about football. The only time I said to him about football was when he opened the back of a van one day. He had a Chelsea sign. And I went, what the fuck you supporting Chelsea when you live down here, bruv? You should be I live in Kent, so you should be supporting Maidstone, Gillingham, Tunbridge Wells, you know? That's, to me, is tribalism. But the passion, I keep seeing it on YouTube, and I feel like a lot of... I watched Jacob's channel the other night, and there was a geezer on there from London, right? And see, this is where it gets a bit confusing for if you don't live in Britain or you don't live in England. I talk London. I talk 1900s accent London. That is what my accent is. My great nan, who was born 1900, right? I speak like her, and my nan spoke like her. My mum has got a bit of a different twang because she's 60s long. She can't. So that generation has got a bit of a different twang, right? But I grew up with me nan, all the old boys, all the old 60s, the 50s lot, you know what I mean? They're the ones who looked after me. They're the ones that predominantly I went out with. So I've got that accent, the same accent as what 1900s Cockneys had, right? So when I see someone on Jacob's channel the other night say he was from London, I'm sitting there, I thought, he ain't got a fucking London accent. He had little teeny little twangs that come into it, little nuances, and I thought, oh mate, you could be born South London, just over the river, but a little bit further up, like Greenwich sort of way, or you could be Bromley with that accent, with the twang. See, that's when the tribalism kicks in, because I think to myself, why are you supporting Tottenham? The other day it happened to me. I was watching another channel, and I know the geezer comes from South London, and he's giving his bunny about Tottenham, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about Tottenham for? Go and support fucking Arsenal, you prick. You know what I mean? You fucking 3 miles away from fucking Woolwich, bruv. Go and support Arsenal, fucking Millwall, Charlton. It kicks in without realising. It's just inbred into you. Because that's the mentality it was in the 70s and the 80s. We had that passion for football that it sort of, in your area, especially in where we come from in London, because it's predominantly poor areas, N17, Stamford Hill, Wood Green, Seven Sisters, Bruce Grove, they're not rich areas. We leave Stamford Hill out of it, eh? We jump over Stamford Hill, because them Jew boys, some of them have got fucking some shekels, ain't they, and half. But you go back past Oxton, Dalston. Oxton, we'll call that fucking Arsenal. Dalston, you're probably a Tottenham supporter. You know what I mean? But these were predominantly poor areas. So you feel, and we had a community years ago in London. Every little area had their own little communities. Don't care where you come from, everyone had a fucking community. You helped each other out. Now it's not like that. London is so multicultural. I go back home to Bethnal Green, I won't see anybody down the road apart from, I try, for fucking donkey's years since I've moved out, I've tried to go in my mate's cafe, Pleach's Cafe in Bethnal Green, right? And I get to Bethnal Green, I get to the top of Cornwallis, I look down the road, they're queuing outside. I think to myself, fuck that, I'm not queuing in my own cafe. And I went in there when I was a baby, you know what I mean? I used to get served fucking me sausage roll and me cordial. My mum had a fucking shop of 1, 2, 3, about 7 shops down. There was the travel agent. That's where my mother worked. And I think to myself, now the tribalism still kicks in. It's like, what are you doing in my fucking manor? Can't even go and have a bake. Can't even go in to Pleach's and say to me, mate, who I grew up with, you all right, Nev? How you doing, bro? Or my neighbour, Tony, you all right, geez? You know, I lived opposite Tony for so many years in Pleaches, and when I go down Bethnal Green Road and I don't see anybody, and that is there, still the same, I want to go and say hello, but I ain't queuing up. Anyway, that's another gripe, isn't it? It's strange the way you can, it's strange the way when you're brought up in London, especially my part of London, where I get people saying to me, why aren't you West Ham? Why ain't you Arsenal? And it's like, bruv, I'm Bethnal Green, mate. I'm Cockney. We was either Tottenham or West Ham. You weren't even Arsenal, bruv. You know what I mean? I hope what I've said, if a lot of my foreigners, you foreigners, I wouldn't mind. I'm a foreign myself. I wouldn't mind. I still don't understand. See, I still don't understand what you're doing living halfway up England, past Birmingham, bruv, and you're supporting Tottenham. Why aren't you supporting Aston Villa? Why aren't you supporting Birmingham City? You know? That could be conceived a different way, because people from Australia or America or Malaysia or Japan or Korea look at that and think to themselves, what's he talking about? He must mean that. No, I don't mean yous. It's English tribalism. It's a different thing. It's a different, when you've grown up with it, you'll understand where it's coming from. I don't know if you've got it in America. Do you feel strongly about your towns where you've been brought up? You know, when you play American football, it like, if you live in Tennessee and you supported the New York Giants, is that weird? Or if you was living in Los Angeles and you supported on another sport and you supported the Cardinals, you know, would you find it weird? If you lived in Colorado and you supported a Mexican football team, is that totally weird? Have you got that same patriotism, tribalism for your clubs over there? You know? Anyway, have a good day. Take care. I hope you've understood where I'm coming from. I don't mean it any other way. I love all Spurs fans, yeah? But I still can't get my head around the England ones. I still can't. If you're a Scouser, you go and support Toppies, or you go and support Liverpool. You know what I mean? If you live up Newcastle way, mate, you're either Sunderland or Newcastle or one of your little teams around there, you know? I still don't understand, if you live up Newcastle, why you're supporting Spurs. I can't get my head around that. I never will get my head around that. But I can appreciate and take on board that the evolution of football, everyone can watch it from wherever now. But why don't you support your local team if you're English? You know, I can take into account that everybody else loves English football around the world. I can understand that, because all your football leagues are shit. But the English Premier League, there'll only ever be one. English Premier League, yeah? Or English League Division 1 when I was a kid. There'll only ever be one. It's the greatest fucking league in the world. So when I see people talking about, you know, like the leagues and stuff like this, you've all got shit leagues. In America, you got shit leagues. In fucking Malaysia, you got shit leagues. In Korea, you got shit leagues. Japan, you got shit leagues. To me, Europe, all shit, bruv. Premier League, number one. Even my dad comes from Spain. Right. English League, best in the world. I've got a friend who's Italian. English League, best in the world. I've got a friend from Portugal. English League, best in the world. Where, you know, that's what I'm saying. So the Europeans can actually say, yeah, I know French people. They don't. English league is the best in the world. So I can understand why we've got loads of supporters from exotic and erotic countries, right? But I can't understand why English people support clubs from different areas. Because we take pride. We used to have T-shirts years ago. Tottenham, Pride of London. You know what I mean? West Ham, Pride of London. Filth, Pride of dog shit. But you get where I'm coming from, don't you? You get where I'm coming from. There's a lot of tribalism in football in England. So good luck. Thanks for supporting Tottenham Hotspur. Just thought I'd point that out to you people from far-flung corners of the world, that sometimes you've got to take into account people of a different age group have still got this tribalism, this mentality, because you can't knock it out of someone. Once a yid, always a yid, you know. And I'm not understanding South Londoners who come from next door to Chelsea supporting Tottenham. I don't understand that. Whoop, over my head, you know. Totally over my head. Go and support Fulham, you fucker. You know what I mean? Anyway, take care. Baked potato, God bless. That was a long one.